Hello.
Hello,
Hi, Susan.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey.
Okay, so before we start, I just wanted to ask you, I don't know if you noticed at the end of the instructions for our assignment, we have to do like a debriefing.
Right.
So that's not in character, right? That's like me asking you for feedback, right?
As a counselor, that is you asking me for feedback. Yes.
Okay, so when am I asking you as the client or am I asking you, Susan, like as my classmate?
I believe we're asking each other like students to see how I can critique you as a counselor and vice versa as us being co-students,
Yeah.
classmates. That's how I see it.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Like, okay, so at the end of this, then I'll be asking you how it all went and whatever.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right then. Just wanted to get that out the way. Okay. So this. Okay. So here we go. Hi, Susan. My name is Jennifer, and I'm here to follow up on some of the responses that you've expressed for your screening. And first, I know it's a hard thing to talk about, and I just want to thank you for contacting us and letting us help you through this. Um, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions, okay?
Okay.
So, in the past few weeks, have you been thinking about killing yourself?
Well, um, it just has crossed my mind, I have so many hours and I'm just alone.
So you're being by yourself right now.
Yes.
Um, how often have you been thinking like this?
Mm. The last year has been really rough. It's been one storm after another.
Would you mind telling me about them?
Um, I just, I have a disability and I'm confined to a wheelchair. Uh, I can't very well function 100% even in my own home. I have to have people come in to make meals, clean my house. I absolutely hate that. I feel pretty worthless since I was so active when my kids were growing up. Uh, I just, I hate asking for help. I don't ask for help. And then those hours of the night, my mind keeps going a million miles an hour. I don't quite think that have, I'm brave enough to go through it, but I just can't stop these thoughts. And they're concerning because they just get more intense and more intense. And I just don't seem to think that there are people out there that are even thinking about me.
Right. And looking at you, I can see on your face how it can be frustrating. And, and I'm sorry that you're going through that, that you have these feelings. Um, and I know that as you speak about your disability, like that's frustrating because you've expressed you have these feelings of that nobody's there for you or you're alone in all this and that you have nobody. And yeah, I can totally empathize with that. Um, when are you having any thoughts of killing yourself right now?
It seems like pretty much like during the day, I'm okay if I find things to keep my mind busy. I just, and there are mornings where I'm so exhausted, it's just not even worth trying.
If you were going to kill yourself, how have you thought about how you do it?
Well, I don't have any weapons and I can't stand hurting myself. You know, putting myself in pain. So I just, my only resource would be taking a bunch of medication.
Okay.
Just hopefully that would just allow it to just be a peaceful, not painful way. So maybe I don't know. I just don't want it to be painful. I just want to get. I just want all of these feelings just to stop, to go away.
Right, right. Um, do you have any access to these pills at the moment?
I don't know how lethal any of my medication is, but I have to take medication. There's 4 or 5 medications I take on a daily basis, but there's just been a couple times I might have stopped at that cabinet and looked at the medication. I do have painkillers for the things that are going on with my disability, but that's as far as it's gone.
Okay. Um, how long have you been, again, go back to that, how long have you been having these thoughts? I know you talked about your with your disability and the history with it, but is that something that it just started with the when you with the disability?
No, no, I've been disabled since birth, but have been very active. It's just getting older and it's starting to limit my function and I'm alone. I've never been alone before or I've never had to live alone and this past year I've been alone. All of a sudden I just, been alone and I what I relied on by another person that provided me everything. Now I'm having to try and figure out ways to do it myself, and most of the things are just causing more pain. That I just want to be out of the pain.
Right. So so it sounds like a lot of this stuff is something that's obviously current because as you're getting older, your activity level again, like you mentioned, is not where it used to be. So going back in the past, have you ever had any of these ideas? They haven't came out in the past. It's
No,
not,
no.
okay.
Uh, in fact, I've had a history of helping individuals, and I've been uh, on the other side of this
Mhm.
with assisting in someone else that was in a crisis and was able to get them help and you know
Yeah. You have a lot of experience as far as um, being able to recognize at least.
and I swear I tell myself all of this constantly. It just is, I can't get rid of these thoughts. They kind of are intrusive and I break out my all the knowledge I've had, and it just doesn't stop these thoughts. And I just want it to stop. That it just would be better if I could just help them stop.
Right. Um, I know that you mentioned you're on medication. Have you ever been on any psychiatric medicine or had any psychiatric treatment?
No, No. You know, I've had a little bit of history with bad relationships, and I immediately would search out, you know, all the resources in the community, support groups and stuff like that to help myself through it, and I got through all of those issues before. This is just different. This is just, I don't want to be alone. I can't do the things that I used to do. So it's just, I can't seem to shake this off like I used to.
Tell me about some of your support around you. Who you have around you that you can trust or talk to?
I mean, I still have my parents, but they're older, so they're limited in what they can do and how much, well, like you know, we can't consolidate to one household where they can't do all the physical things that I need either.
Right.
And I have a trusted couple friends, you know, one or two that we talk all the time. Um, so
Have
that,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that's about it.
Okay. Have you ever approached them recently with?
About this.
Yeah.
No, no, at least with my friends, I mean, I would never tell my parents either, but at least with my friends, I'm the one that they come to for help. I've been the one all the time that helps everyone.
And you've never sought any type of counsel prior to you calling this hotline?
No.
Okay. Again, I know it's a hard thing, and I just want to say thank you for doing that.
Let me correct that. I know that when this whole first storm started happening where I was alone, there was one incident. My son happened to have been visiting me, and he was very concerned about my behavior and how visibly upset I was that he did call a crisis mobile team. They were out here for probably an hour. They talked me, you know, talked me through it, and you know, the immediate crisis was like gone. But other than that, there's not been anything.
What happened during that incident?
Um, just a lot of bad news, and it just seemed hopeless. And again, it's just I've never been alone in my entire life. I'm 57 years old, and I've never been alone. And just the sudden change in my situation of being alone and not having anyone here to provide the, you know, the things that I need, you know, helping me physically and preparing meals and stuff. It just was too much.
Um, Besides, I know you said your prior relationships were not so good. Um, any other conflicts that you experienced at home that have been hard to handle?
I'm not sure I understand what you said. Asked me about my past
So
relationship.
yeah, so I'm sorry. So I know you mentioned earlier that your past relationships, some of them haven't been so good. Um, can you describe some of those conflicts that you experienced?
Oh, I mean, first husband, we got married too young. He wanted to be single, and I wanted a family. That was fine. I mean, it wasn't a abusive or horrible relationship. It just was not something that we needed to be done. So that would ended quick, but it resulted in me being a single mom.
Right.
And I was okay with that. But the father of my two youngest children, uh, I stayed in that relationship for about 6 years, and it was extremely volatile and very physically abusive. But um, once I was able, I mean, I was deteriorating in that relationship, but once um, authorities got involved and once he messed up one too many times, once I got out of it and I got within my family and my support system, I flourished very quickly. I was able to utilize all the tools and all the resources and get over that. And my second marriage ended after 10 years, and he was verbally, he was just controlling. But that was I pulled myself out of all these difficulties all my life with what I felt ease, and it was okay. And I don't know if it had to do with I was able to function on my own, still make meals and provide for my children and take care of the house and take care of myself, with uh, just uh, dressing and all that stuff. And now that I have deteriorated quite a bit in the last few years from my disability, I can't do any of that stuff for myself anymore. And that it is just, I feel it's too much for me.
Right. Well, I'd like to, praise that you in your second marriage. I mean, I can hear it in your voice how much pride you had in being able to get out of that situation, um, and be able to, you know, move on and live a healthy life as best as you could. You mentioned your children.
Mhm.
Um, I know you called today because of these suicide thoughts, but what are some of the reasons you would not kill yourself?
The biggest one is I have a service animal that relies on me.
Yeah.
And we're here, the two of us are here on our own. And I mean, I have individuals, I might have hinted that it would be better off if I just disappear or whatever. Not really saying I wanted to kill myself, but there have been individuals that have said that there's too many people that would suffer if I were gone. I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
I like to think, but I don't know, maybe if I had a reason, or maybe I had a way of serving others that would help me out a bit. And it just seems like since I've had to be thrown into being by myself
Mhm.
without assistance, I just can't figure out a way how I could be of help to anybody like I used to be. So,
You know, we have a few more questions, Susan, before we end, but I wanted to go back to your support. I know you mentioned friends, and I know you have your family, but they're getting older, and you mentioned that your friends they relied on you. What is your opinion on how would you think, if it was reversed? If you were able to speak to them about this, do you think that they can offer you that support?
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
just, again, it goes back to I've always hated to ask for help. I've always just done things on my own. I mean, I'm the one that gets things done. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I could see the pride that you have in that and being able to do those things on your own.
Yeah.
Well, our first priority is to keep you safe. And so I would like to work together with you to develop a plan, a safety plan to help you when we're having thoughts of suicide. So examples could be, you know, you're going to call a friend, you're going to call your son, and let them know, when I'm feeling this ways, or you can call this hotline again, and that way you can get these feelings and express them, because we are here to help you. And um, that's what we want to do, is to provide these services for you. Um, I want to talk about, what are some of the things that you find comfort in. I know you like to be very independent, and I know a lot of that, like you said, has decreased. But what are some of the things that you take joy in? Um, like
Well,
that?
in my house, I've been able to set up areas for me to do crafts, taking my service animal for a walk. So I like studying. I like studying, and I, over the last year, not just the last year, but more, I've enhanced it more of wanting to look in devotionals and in the Bible and to God to help me get rid of these thoughts. So, uh, but that those kinds of things do bring me a bit comfort.
Okay, so I'd like to incorporate that into your safety plan. So, to ways to manage these feelings, and these feelings of stress is, you can, in a journal, continue to write down these verses, or read a little bit more about them, and as a way to distract you from these. I mean, I'm not trying to, there are ways to help you through it, right? I'm not trying to have you ignore these feelings, because they're a part of you. Um, but that way, these methods can help you to see that, you are important, your life is important, and there's a lot of resources out there. Um, so we can start with those. And at this time, um, I would, we again talked about the safety plan, and I would like to send that home with you. And um, like for a nurse maybe to follow up with you in a couple of days to see how you're doing, um, just to get an evaluation of you after maybe if you've done some of these techniques, and to see again where you're at, and yeah, any feedback on how it's helping you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Susan. And I hope that we helped you. And again, we are 24/7 hotline. And if you ever need help, we are here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. There was that.
Uh,
Okay, so let me have it, Susan.
I know it's nerve wracking, and I know that we fumble and everything, and just fine tune some listening skills.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I myself do the same thing. I want to just get all this information in and provide support to the client. This you're hearing me. Okay, you are. I just try, and it's hard, but try and pick up all the detail.
Yes.
So I mean, that's the only thing I can think. I can't tell how you're interacting with me because I can't see you.
I know, and that's, I know, I'm trying to get this fixed.
What's he doing?
But yeah, I know, and that's the biggest thing for me too, is because obviously this is all something that I is new, right? I mean, it's new for me, and then so to learn what my strengths are with that, and
Right.
so
I
yeah.
know that you had asked about, a plan and
Mhm.
all that stuff. The other questions that I found here, which were interesting. Uh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Uh,
Mhm.
has anyone in your family committed suicide? Uh, would you still want to die if circumstances changed?
Okay.
And then, of course, if it was really a crisis, it says here to ask if they wanted to go into inpatient care or the hospital.
Okay.
So I thought those were good questions. So I just was doing different things about what the characteristics of somebody that is suicidal and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I thought those were um, good. So, but yeah. Um, and in the last thing, I don't think it matters, but I know she said not to use any personal information. So, and then you started saying, my name
Oh,
is Jennifer, and thank you, Susan, for calling. And I go,
oh yeah.
I didn't even tell you before we started this. Let's come up with
New
names.
names. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I knew it in the back of my mind. It was there, and I was like, it just
Oh crap!
slipped.
So, but yeah, no, you were engaging, and I know all of us are just, it's just gonna be practice, it's just experience with other clients. So
Well, I mean, again, had I not known that you were just playing a part, I thought you were a great client. So I was really finding myself like, oh my gosh, I have to help this
and
lady.
a couple of that stuff is kind of my past and all this stuff, but I kind of
Yeah.
falsified it. But I mean, this past year has not been the best year of my life, and I kind of made it. I'm getting through it better than what that client was doing.
Sure.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. No, yeah, I found myself like, oh man, is she really okay? So how am I really gonna help this lady?
I would like to be better. Honestly, I would, but I do have some support, and there were a few months that there was just nothing there. But we all are not going to live a perfect life.
Sure, sure.
So, but okay, so I can stop this meeting and I can get the link and I will email it to you. Yes?
Yeah, well, you gave me the member number, right?
Huh?
You gave me the ID number.
Right.
For the next one, I can just type it in.
Right. But for the recording for your
Oh,
meeting,
yes.
I actually will get the link and I will put it on our private the chain that we've been messaging back and
Oh,
forth.
the forum, uh-huh.
How about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Susan, and I'll see you in a
I'll see
bit.
you in a minute. All right. Bye.
Bye.